And finally, we'll have Dr. Gail Canzano speak.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Gail Canzano. I'm a clinical psychologist and a survivor of homicide. It seems to me that it's impossible for the people of Connecticut to have a conversation about the death penalty without our thoughts turning to Dr. William Pettit and his family. And while I think it may be safe to say that our entire state was traumatized by those murders in Cheshire, surely none of us can fathom the horror and the pain that the Pettit family has had to endure. Like countless others, I have also lost a family member to a brutal and savage murder. I understand very well that there is no trauma like murder, and there is no grief like homicide grief. I also know that when something like this touches us, it ignites a powerful rage, individually and collectively. But we err as a society if we believe that the judicial system offers any real solution to the family members of murder victims. The message I wish to leave with you today is that the death penalty does not benefit the survivors of homicide. Our judicial system, rather than helping the families of murder victims, unwittingly compounds their trauma. A very powerful seduction takes place when capital punishment offers us a way out of our grief. We are led to believe with the imposition of the death penalty that something will be made right. This is the underlying premise of retributive justice. An eye for an eye, a life for a life. But truth be told, there are some things that can never be rectified, no matter what we do. The advocates of capital punishment would have us believe that the death penalty might somehow settle the score, balance the scales. Yet there are some crimes for which the notion of balancing the scales is simply ludicrous. It just isn't possible. As a clinical psychologist who works with victims and survivors of trauma, I can tell you that there are ways to promote the healing process and ways to antagonize it. And while the healing process is long and arduous, retribution is never the end point. It is only when we recognize the futility of retribution that healing can proceed. There are those who will argue that the death penalty is the moral imperative of a fair and just society. Although this sounds like a rational argument, in fact, it's an argument based on outrage and a sense of having been deeply violated. Retribution is never based on reason. It is a mistake to think that in putting an end to capital punishment, we sacrifice justice. There is nothing accomplished by the death penalty that is not better accomplished by life in prison without the possibility of release. In the end, the survivors of homicide will be helped by the love and care of their families, by their faith communities, and by mental health experts who specialize in trauma. they will never be helped by the death penalty. Thank you.